So in this problem, we're going to look at 3 problems involving delta H and a specific heat capacity. The first problem says, what is the heat capacity, the specific heat capacity of zinc is 0.386 joules per gram degree Celsius. So that's this problem right here, 0.386 joules per gram degree Celsius. The mass of the zinc that is given, so notice that it's good to know some of these symbols, right? It's good to know what does an element look like when we write an equation. What's the symbol for the element? So the mass is 454 grams. The initial temperature is 96 degrees Celsius, and the final temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. So the question is, how many joules will be released when 454 grams of zinc at 96 degrees Celsius is cooled, right? When 454 grams of zinc at 96 degrees Celsius is cooled, we're cooled to 28 degrees Celsius. So what is the first thing we always do with solving equations and using formulas? We always write down the values that we've been given. That's the first thing we do. And so we have the C of zinc, we have the mass, we have the initial temperature and the final temperature. What's the next step after we've written everything we've been given? Write down the formula. Q is equal to M times C times delta T. So what is M? M is 454 grams. C is 0.386 joules per grams degree Celsius. And what is delta T? It would be 28 minus 96. Right? So 28 minus 96. So I'm going to get my calculator out. We're going to be multiplying values and simplifying each of these problems. So Q is equal to 454 grams times 0.386 times negative 68. So the negative is going to play a role at the end of the problem when you check to see if it makes sense. It says how many joules will be released. Notice the word released means that there's a giving off, an exothermic reaction. So therefore, we multiply 454 times 0.386. So 454 times 0.386, right? You multiply and then times 68. What is the answer that you get when you do all that? You will get Q is equal to 1.19 times 10 to the 4th joules. Now, your calculator will probably not give you, depending on what you use, might not give you in scientific notation. So what you do is you take the answer you get, which is 11,916.6. You change that to scientific notation, and it's negative. It's a negative in front here. So therefore, we know that it's an exothermic reaction. And an exothermic reaction, heat is released to its surroundings. Okay, the next question says, how much heat is absorbed by 2.5 times 10 to the second grams of water and 450 grams of aluminum can, which is, they give us a specific heat, when they are heated from 10 degrees to 85 degrees Celsius. Okay, so for this one, we basically have these values that have been given. We're going to actually do 2 calculations for this one. We're going to take and calculate the heat with the water, and we're going to take and calculate the heat with the aluminum as well. So how much heat is absorbed by the water and the can when they are heated from 10 degrees to 85 degrees. So let's go ahead and do the first part of the water. So we have to do this, and we have to do this. Okay, so basically, let's do the first part, M times C times delta T, right? So T final minus T initial, and then we're going to add that to M times C of aluminum times T final minus T initial. And then this one is water, the specific heat of water, the specific heat of aluminum. So what is the mass of the water? It's 2.5 times 10 squared. And then the specific heat of water was 4.18 joules per grams degree Celsius. That's a capital letter C. And this is plus, what is the mass of aluminum? 450 grams. What is the specific heat? 0.900. And what is the temperature change? It would be, I apologize, I didn't write it here, but it would be 85 minus 10 and 85 minus 10 here as well. We could technically factor that out, but let's just leave it this way. So we have 2.5 times this times that. So 2.5 times 10 squared times that. And then what is this? 75 plus 450 grams times 0.900 times 75. Okay, let's go ahead and get our calculators out. We're going to multiply the first part, which is 250, basically. That's the same thing as 2.5 times 10 to the second power, times 4.18. And then we're going to multiply that by 75. That gives us 78,375. And we're going to add that to 450 times 0.900 times 75. That's 30,375. Okay, we'll go ahead and add those. So we'll put that down. We have 7. We bring this down 8. We have 1 and 0. So basically, we have, if you want to do scientific notation, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1.09 times 10 to the 5th power in joules would be the answer for number 6. So for number 6, you basically have to do the heat for the water, the heat for the aluminum, add those values together, and the answer is 1.09 times 10 to the 5th joules. Okay? Number 7, we've been giving the heat. What is the temperature change? So we write down the formula, and this time around, you're literally looking for delta T. They just want to know what the temperature change is. So you divide both sides by MC, and so delta T is equal to Q divided by MC. Delta T is equal to, what is Q? 1.386 times 10 to the 3rd joules. What is M times C? 60 grams times 0.385 joules per grams degrees Celsius. Delta T then is equal to 60 degrees Celsius. When you do the math of multiplying these two together in the denominator and then dividing it from the numerator, your answer will be 60 degrees Celsius. That is the temperature change. So in summary, we always write out the values we've been given. We always we write down the formula. Then we plug in the values for that formula. And the rest of it is just doing a lot of arithmetic and a little bit of algebra, depending on if you have to solve for a different variable. So don't be discouraged if you feel like your algebra is not where it needs to be. What you could do is take a book like Tyler Wallace Algebra, Chapter 1 on solving equations, and just work on that. Or you could take our math course, let me know if you want that as a resource. You can use that as well. I have some free videos on our YouTube channel as well under the math tab for algebra. So just watch videos on equation solving and it will help you build this skill. Thanks for watching this set of videos. Have a blessed day.